Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and in today's video we're going to be talking about all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news that's come out in the last 24 hours. So who are we going to be talking about in this video? We're going to be talking about Kieran Trippier. That's the main story really at the moment. Kieran Trippier to Manchester United. There's a lot of news regarding Kieran Trippier to Manchester United. I'll give you the latest on that. We'll also be talking about Jadon Sancho. You know, it wouldn't be a transfer video about Man United if Jadon Sancho wasn't involved, because every single day there's a new update on Jadon Sancho. I'm going to give you the latest on Jadon Sancho and the news that's come out. And we'll also be talking about RAPHAEL VARANE, a weird story that's come out now. It's not from the most reliable source, but they're saying Man United have offered Varane a 5-year contract to come to the club, and they're like trying to agree personal terms with Varane, which is interesting. We'll also touch on Saul Niguez, Kante, Kalanogu, and a lot more players, and even Declan Rice. There's quite a lot to talk about in today's video, but who should we start with? We'll start with Trippier, because we talked about a lot about Sancho this week, and a lot of the Sancho news I've already covered. But we'll start with Kieran Trippier. Now, there's a few stories about Kieran Trippier. The first one came out from the Mail, so I'll just cover this one, but it came out from Simon Jones. He said Atletico Madrid are open to offers for Kieran Trippier from Manchester United, who retain an interest in signing him and are plotting a move. They see competition for Wan-Bissaka. So that's the story we already know. So Man United are in for Kieran Trippier. We want backup for Wan-Bissaka. We want competition for Wan-Bissaka. Kieran Trippier has been a Man United target for 6 months. But the really interesting thing that came out, and it's from a journalist called Sam Pilger. Now, I don't know how reliable this guy is. I wouldn't put him in tier 1 or 2, but I don't think he's talking a load of crap. This is what Sam Pilger said regarding Manchester United and Kieran Trippier last night, which I thought was really interesting. He said Manchester United are very interested in Kieran Trippier. He probably would have already joined United in January if he wasn't bad, which I think is a bit bizarre. He's saying he could have joined United in January if he isn't bad. And this journalist is saying there's a good chance that Kieran Trippier to Man United will happen now. We wanted him in January, but he was banned, so he didn't join. There's a story that obviously we know we want Trippier, we know we're interested in Trippier, and this journalist is saying there's a good chance Trippier will join Man United. And this is coming from a journalist called Sam Pilger. Again, look, if he's not reliable, let me know in the live chat. I don't know too much about this journalist, but why would you lie about Kieran Trippier coming to Manchester United? It's not exactly the most luxurious signing in the world, and I did think that was really interesting. And then another story talking about another Atletico Madrid player came from Sport Witness via Marca, not the most reliable source, but I'm going to just cover this story right at the start of this video, and then we'll get into Sancho, then we'll get into Varane, then we'll get more into Trippier, then I'll get to live chat. But there was a story about Saul Niguez to Manchester United, and every summer we are linked to Saul Niguez, and it's always from Marca, Sport Witness, not the most reliable sources, but I'm going to read out the story and give you my thoughts, just in case, because you just never know. But the story says Manchester United are well placed to sign Saul Niguez, the Atletico midfielder, this summer, and they've always been interested in him. We're always linked to Saul Niguez. I'm sure we're interested in him. Atletico are forced to make an important sale and are seriously considering allowing Saul to leave. Apparently, Atletico, financial trouble, all of that, need to let players leave. So we're linked to 2 Atletico players in Kieran Trippier and Saul Niguez. And I think the Saul Niguez one is one to just brush off. He's one of them, like Milinkovic-Savic. Whenever there's talk of Pogba moving away from Manchester United, there's always a story about Man United getting Saul Niguez and getting Kieran Trippier. You know what it is. It's a very annoying one. Now, there's a few stories coming in on Jadon Sancho. Now, the big story is coming from Konstantin Ecker last night, and he's basically confirmed that Sancho and United have an agreement in principle, but United haven't made a bid. So we obviously know personal terms was agreed with Sancho and Man United, but the really big thing that we've learned in the last 24 hours, which we kind of sort of knew anyway, but it's been confirmed from Konstantin Ecker, the Athletic reliable journalist, is that obviously that agreement between Sancho and United is still in place. They still have that agreement, and because of that agreement, Sancho wants United over Chelsea. But what Konstantin Ecker said yesterday is Man United and Sancho still have an agreement in principle, but United haven't made a bid. So we've got an agreement with Sancho. That still stands. The agreement with Sancho is in principle. So the agreement we had with Sancho last summer has been confirmed to still stand. The agreement is all done from last summer, but United haven't made a bid because Dortmund, apparently, according to Konstantin Ecker, are demanding too much money, and United haven't decided quite yet how they want to approach the situation. Basically, I'm going to read out another thing that came in from The Athletic, if I can find it. And basically, The Athletic said that Jadon Sancho was favouring a move to Manchester United and Borussia Dortmund are prepared to sell him. The Athletic also say that Jadon Sancho prefers a move to Man United over Chelsea. We know that the Athletic are a good, reliable source, get information from the club. So when The Athletic say Sancho wants United, not Chelsea, it backs up with the news from Konstantin Ecker and talk about the agreement in place, but Man United haven't made a bid. And the reason I think Man United aren't making a bid for Sancho and are trying to get him cheaper is because they know that I think we are in pole position to sign Sancho look, Chelsea went and signed Havertz and Werner and loads of players last season and Ziyech because they knew that Sancho wanted United, Sancho chose United. So that's why Chelsea went on and did that other spending spree and not got Sancho last summer. And that's why Man United were allowed to fuck around with the Sancho deal last summer, because no club was going to pay £108 million for Sancho last summer because Sancho wanted United. Now, the three clubs that are in for Sancho are Chelsea, Liverpool and Man United, and Sancho wants to come to England. And the situation is Man United are the club that Sancho wants. So I think the reason what Konstantin is saying, which backs up what The Athletic has said, is Man United, I'm not sure how they're going to go around the Sancho deal because Dortmund want a lot of money, £80 million, which I don't think is a lot of money. I think that's a good deal for Sancho. But I think it backs up with what The Athletic say, because Sancho wants us over Chelsea. So I think what Man United are doing is they know that Sancho will choose us over Chelsea. They know that Chelsea probably won't be a threat in the race because Sancho's chose United over Chelsea. So United are going to play the slow game with Sancho. I mean, not the slow game with Sancho, the slow game with Dortmund. We already have an agreement with Sancho. That has been confirmed, that agreement with Sancho that we have still stands. We have an agreement with Sancho in principle. So that's not going to be a problem. It's just been confirmed once again by a journalist. Man United are going to play the slow game with Sancho, I think, and I don't think it's going to be done till after the Euros. I'd be very, very shocked if it is done before the Euros, because I think Man United know that Sancho wants us and not Chelsea, and Chelsea aren't a threat. So unfortunately, we are do anything to save a pound FC, as I said. As much as we could probably get Sancho this week, pay the money, and it be done, Manchester United, we could probably get Sancho done this week if we really wanted, but Man United, we will rather wait a month just to see if we can get £2-3 off the deal. That's how tight we are. But the really, really interesting thing is, now I don't think Sancho will be done till after the Euros. I know everything's agreed between us and Sancho, but I don't think we're going to negotiate properly with Dortmund till after the Euros. But the really interesting thing was, obviously, Fabrizio Romano said yesterday on his Here We Go podcast, in the next few days there will be some updates about Jadon Sancho. Fabrizio Romano says at the moment there's no negotiations, but Sancho is still on United's list. And so Fabrizio Romano saying in the next few days there will be some updates regarding Jadon Sancho, which will be really, really interesting. And I will read out some of your live chats in just a sec, but I want to just power through the Sancho news because, we're all a bit bored of Sancho news. I want to power through the Trippier news. And if you want my honest opinion, the indications of the Trippier news are quite likely. The fact that we're very, very strongly linked to a player of Trippier that we kind of came up in January, and it's from a lot of different journalists. I wouldn't be surprised if we signed Kieran Trippier, because he's not a fancy signing. He's an Alex Tellers kind of signing. I wouldn't be surprised if Trippier was our first signing. And as I said, I think Sancho won't be done till after the Euros. I think we're playing the long game with Sancho. But I think because Kieran Trippier is quoted to be around £50 million, which I think Laurie Whitwell said, I think Kieran Trippier could be Man United's first proper summer signing. We've already signed Tom Heaton. I think Kieran Trippier could be the next signing. And I think RAPHAEL VARANE will depend on where VARANE wants to go. And I think Jadon Sancho will play the long game. But I think that's really, really interesting and all of that. Now, the other stories that came out regarding Jadon Sancho, there was one from the Mirror that said Man United are the front runners for Sancho, but no deal has been finalised as Man United don't want to be ripped off. Well, £80 million is what Dortmund want for Sancho. Yeah, we won't be ripped off. Sancho's worth £80 million. Basically, everyone's saying Sancho wants United. Sancho and United have agreed everything in principle. But Man United are playing the long game with Dortmund because they know they're the front runners, they know in the comfortable position, and they're just going to try and save £2 million. That basically sums up all the Sancho news if you listen to all the different stories. But I'm going to talk quickly about RAPHAEL VARANE, because there's a couple of interesting articles that's come out about Varane, another player we're linked to, and then I'm going to address some of the live chats. Then we'll talk more about Sancho, more about Trippier, talk about Kante, Declan Rice, Kalinoglu. There's just so much transfer news, so many transfer stories. So if you could keep hitting that like button, subscribe down below, share this video, and comment your thoughts in the comments or the live chat, that would be much appreciated. So the Mail came out yesterday and said that Man United are working on a deal for Real Madrid's RAPHAEL VARANE. Now, when a story comes from the Mail, the Mirror, the Star, Sport Witness, all of that, I always say take it with a pinch of salt. Bear that story in mind, but always take it with a pinch of salt. And they say that Man United are working on a deal for RAPHAEL VARANE, which I think is interesting. And we know we've been linked to RAPHAEL VARANE a while. We know Fabrizio Romano's obviously said Man United are really, really interested in Varane. Fabrizio Romano said we're interested in Varane. He's our first choice. We know Varane is our first choice centre back, and he's been quoted to be allowed to go for £35 million, which is very, very good and very, very affordable. And actually, it makes him one of the cheaper centre backs on the list. He could be cheaper than Pau Torres and Koundé. I think with Varane, it's like Thiago to Liverpool. We wanted Thiago last summer. He went to Liverpool because he chose Liverpool. Now, it's between Man United and PSG for Varane, possibly Chelsea, because I do think they need a centre-back. I think Varane will go where he wants to go to, because he's an affordable price. United will pay the fee, and we clearly want him. Now, this is the really, really interesting story. Now, it's come out from ABC via Sport Witness, so I would say take this story with a pinch of salt. But the reason I'm reading out the story, and I think it's relevant, is because we know from reliable journalists that we are a big fan of Varane, and we want Varane, and we know that he would be very, very affordable. Now, a story from ABC Sport Witness about Varane, I'm just going to quote basically what they said. It says, RAPHAEL VARANE has shown no intentions of signing a new deal with Real Madrid, which is really, really interesting because Carlo Ancelotti joining, a lot of people go, oh, will Varane now sign a new deal with Real Madrid? But they're saying Real Madrid has Varane has no intention of signing a new deal with Real Madrid. So he's got 1 year left on his contract, which means Real Madrid either let him go for free next summer or sell him for less than 40 million quid, basically. They are now saying, now this is the really interesting bit, that RAPHAEL VARANE has a proposal from Manchester United, and apparently, according to ABC via Sport Witness, United have offered him a 5-year contract with a higher wage than he has at Real. So apparently the links with the talks, apparently we're in talks with Varane, we want Varane. Now the story that's come out today, again, take it with a pinch of salt, but we are personal terms FC, we are 90% FC, we are monitoring FC, It's not about Man United agreeing a contract with a player, it's about Man United agreeing a fee with the other club. And apparently we have offered Varane a 5-year contract with a higher wage, and Varane won't stay at Real Madrid. So it'll be really interesting to see if Varane accepts that contract and stuff, or if that is true. And I think we'll have to keep an eye on Varane over the next few weeks. But I would say definitely approach that story with a slight pinch of salt, because you know what Manchester United are like, you know what Varane are like. But I'm going to quickly read out some live chats before I talk about all the other news, because there's quite a lot to talk about. But I'm just going to read out some other news. So we're going to start we agreed with Sancho ages ago. Yes. So the Sancho deal is agreed, and it was confirmed that the agreement still stands on principle last night. We did agree to deal with Sancho ages ago. Samuel Ingram says, why don't Man United Football Club swap David De Gea for Saul Niguez in a swap deal for cash? Because of De Gea's wages, it would be very, very difficult. How was the party, Alice? It was a good party, but I almost lost my voice, hence why I wasn't live yesterday. Lukaku decided to stay into Chelsea FC, might be more focused on Sancho. That is an interesting story. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Now, Sancho wants United over Chelsea. We know Sancho wants United over Chelsea, but I think Chelsea are focused on a striker, but Chelsea in transfers. Abramovich, Chelsea, they get their shit done. So we have to be careful, because we're playing the long game with Sancho, because I think we know we're in the pole position to sign, and we are Sancho's first choice. But Sancho could get fed up and go to Chelsea. So, yeah, we do have to watch out for Chelsea. But the story coming out is that Chelsea are interested in Sancho, but he's not a priority. It's like, how we're interested in Declan Rice, but he's not a priority. So we know we're probably not going to get Declan Rice, but we're interested in him. I think that's Chelsea's stance with Sancho, because of Sancho's price and because they spent a lot of money on the attack. They're probably interested in him, but Sancho isn't a Chelsea priority. I'm just going to take a quick swig of water, then get any comments or questions you might have in the live chat, as I will read them out in just a sec. I'll just drip that on me. Fuck's sake. But yeah. If Deco was playing in his prime, would you take him? Yeah, probably. I mean, he was a good player in his prime. Chelsea FC last summer obsessed with 2 Germans. Yeah. I think Chelsea is our only fear in the Sancho race. Now, look, the thing with Jadon Sancho is I'd be very, very shocked if anything massive happens regarding Man United and Sancho before the Euros. But what we do know is Liverpool aren't going to get Sancho. I think Liverpool are going to get Rafinha. Now, if you can't get Sancho, who would be next on your list? Probably Rafinha. He's probably the best option after Sancho on the list of players. So fair play to Liverpool. They've already got Kante done. They look like they're going to get Rafinha done. They have a shit owner, but they still run a lot better than Man United. So with Sancho, it's between Man United and Chelsea. Now, Chelsea are much more linked to players like Haaland, Kane, and Lukaku, whilst we're much more linked to Sancho. Now, I don't know who Chelsea's #1 transfer targets are. I don't think many people do, but we know Chelsea are linked to Varane, Rice, Kunde, right backs Chelsea like Hakimi. Chelsea have been linked to a lot of players, but Lukaku's been the main one that Chelsea has been linked to. But it is between us and Chelsea for Sancho, and I just think the situation is we have everything agreed with Sancho. Man United have everything agreed with Sancho. We've had everything agreed for a year, and it's confirmed that everything we have agreed with Sancho still stands. We're basically in a price war with Borussia Dortmund for Sancho. We basically are. We're just saying, oh, if we wait till after the Euros, will he be £5 million cheaper? We know with Dortmund, he ain't going to be £5 million cheaper. United did it with Bruno. We could have got Bruno the first week in January, but Man United waited to the last week of January to get Bruno just to see if they could save £5 million. And I think that's what they're doing with Sancho, because everything is agreed, and Sancho wants us. It's not like Sancho wants Chelsea and we have to hurry up and pay the money and really race and try and get Sancho. We know that Sancho comfortably wants us and we're comfortably winning the race for Sancho. So United are going to play the long game. But I tell you what Sporting Lisbon did with us is they said Barcelona were going in. We hurried up, got scared and paid a bid. Dortmund, if Dortmund want to be smart, they could pretend Chelsea about to put in a bid and maybe would hurry up and make that bid. I think Jadon Sancho is the exact same as Bruno Fernandes to Man United last year. Jadon Sancho to Man United is the exact same as Bruno Fernandes to Man United. We don't get him in the window we originally go for him because we don't want to pay the money. So we don't get him at first. But then in the next window, we go for him. We're right in for him at the start of the window. There's a lot of links. He's become a first choice signing at the start of the window. But knowing Man United, they will wait to the end of the end of the window, after the Euros, just to see if they can save 1, 2, 3p. Like even 3p. United would wait a month just to save 3 pence. I swear to God. And you know that Sancho's £80 million, but United are going to see if they can get him for £70 million. Even though £80 million is affordable, because we're run by a bunch of mucks. That is the situation with Sancho. Our only problem is Chelsea might see how much time we're taking over Sancho, realise that they can't get Lukaku, Haaland or Kane and just go, fuck it, let's get Sancho and steal him from our eyes. That's the worst case scenario. However, if that happens, I think United would get a warning that Chelsea were going for Sancho. I think if Chelsea were going to go and swoop in for Sancho, Dortmund would give us a warning. And I tell you what, if Dortmund gave us a warning that Chelsea were close to Sancho, I swear to God, we'd make a bid right now. If we believe Chelsea were close to getting Sancho, Man United would have made a bid right now. Because the only reason Man United are playing the long game with Sancho is because they're confident they're going to get him. Because I tell you what, I don't think we will miss out on Sancho this year because the fallout will be too big. With the Super League, with the protest, with the pressure on the Glazers, they cannot afford a massive fuck up. Last summer, there was a lot of pressure on them when they didn't get Sancho. They fucked it up more by doing the Super League stuff. Woodward's gone, the protest, they've had to come and say sorry twice. They can't fuck up Sancho. So I think the minute there's a warning that Sancho might not go our way, or that right before the end of the transfer window, we will pay the money. I just think we're playing the long game to just see if we can save any money. And it's really annoying, and I wish we could just be a bit more efficient. Liverpool signed Kante, Liverpool going to sign Rafinha. But you know what? If we don't sign Sancho before the Euros, can we at least get one signing done in the next 3 weeks? Can we at least get a signing done before the Euros end? Even if it's Trippier, because realistically, we know that Man United takes 6-7 weeks to do a bloody deal. We're just so slow. We're so slow at deals. So, if we get Jadon Sancho at the end of the window, it gives us a couple of weeks to try and get Varane. And I think, it'd be really important that Man United do hurry up and stuff. Chelsea need to sell before buying another winger. Yeah, Chelsea have an overload of wingers. They've even got the Hudson-Odoi, Werner can play on the wing, Havertz can play on the wing, Mount can play on the wing, Pulisic, yeah. To be fair, I don't think Chelsea really need a winger. I think we need a winger a lot more than Chelsea as well, which I think puts us ideally in a stronger situation. Would you say the worst manager in Sir Alex Ferguson is Van Gaal? Probably Moyes, to be fair. Although Moyes is doing a good job at West Ham, but if you talk about the United career, probably Moyes is the worst manager because he messed up. But I don't really blame Moyes. I just think he wasn't given enough time and he wasn't backed and all of that. 2012 Hazard, 2021 Sancho. Will United repeat themselves? Exactly. We were in for Hazard back in the day, ages ago. Could it be a player that goes to Chelsea, goes really successful, and we go, fuck, why do we miss out on them? You never know with United. We need to get this deal out of the way so we can work on other deals. Exactly. Thing is, Sancho's agreed everything with United. Sancho and United have an agreement in principle, which is the annoying thing. Like, the problem ain't Sancho. Sancho wants to go, and we've had that agreement in principle. That agreement we made a year ago still stands with Sancho and Man United. It's just Man United are being tight asses because we're run by a bunch of dickheads, and we're taking our time on the Sancho deal, and we take our time on every transfer deal. That I just sit here and I go, Man United, please hurry up and do something, because at the way it's going, it looks like we'll just only sign Sancho. We'll waste the whole window and only sign Sancho. We need Sancho, a quick centre-back and a CDM. Everyone knows we need Sancho, a quick centre-back and a CDM, but we're not even looking at a CDM. Like, we get linked to Declan Rice, we get linked to one here and there. We need Sancho, a quick centre-back and a CDM. And if we're going to wait weeks and weeks to get Sancho and play the long game with Sancho in a price war with Dortmund, why don't we focus on getting that centre-back done? Now, apparently, we've offered Varane a 5-year deal. We'll have to see the updates on that. But why don't United focus on trying to get Varane done if we're going to play the long game with Sancho, or even getting Trippier over the line? And I think Trippier could be one that gets done, could be a deal that gets done over the line before the Euros. And going off the news, I know the price and what we know. If I was to predict, if we were going to sign a player before the Euros, I predict Trippier. And why don't we even look at CDM? And it's frustrating because Man United are playing the long game. with a thing. Steve says, I think Trippier should stay at Atletico since Atletico have got a better team than Man U. Possibly, if they did win the league, but it's up to Trippier. I think he'll return to England. Sancho first deal, Trippier second deal, Varane third deal, and Declan Rice fourth deal. Hopefully like that. Look, I'd absolutely love to see that, but we know with Sancho everything's agreed with Man U and Sancho, but we just don't know when Man U and Dortmund are going to find an agreement. So that's going to be a long time regarding Sancho. I think Trippier could be easily done. I think if Varane wants us, we could get that done. Declan Rice to Man United, I don't think will happen, but I hope we go in for a CDM by the end of the transfer window. Anto says, Manchester United have to sign players to challenge for the title, but it's unlikely because the other teams strong but Man United need to improve this season. I agree. This guy says, do you watch La Liga, Alice? Not really, I won't lie. I only watch like La Liga teams when they're like in the Champions League or Europa League, you know, because we did watch Villarreal. I'll get your comments in the live chat. I'm just going to take a swig of water and then I'm going to reply to some more comments in the live chat. So any questions, comments regarding transfers or questions you have for me, put in the live chat. This guy mentioned that Trippier has a €33 million release clause, but he's got 2 years left on his contract and he's 30, so I think we could get him for as little as €15 million, which I think is doable. I think that's what we got Tellers for as a backup player. Starlord and a few people don't want the Varane move. Now, look, I don't know what's happening with Varane, but the rumour is we've offered Varane a 5-year contract to come to Manchester United. But again, not from the most reliable journalist, so I would take it with a pinch of salt. Man United clearly want Varane. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer clearly wants Varane, and I do think Varane is our first choice centre-back this summer. It just depends if Varane chooses us, because he's £35 million, which is very affordable. But not everyone is the biggest fan of Varane. Let me know in the live chat if you want Varane or not. I like Varane. I would take Kante over Varane because I think he will have a bigger impact. But I do like Varane, and yeah, I wouldn't have a problem if we signed Varane. Only 59 likes needed for 100 likes. So if you've watched and if you're watching right now and you have not hit that like button, please smack that like button. Subscribe down below, share this video, and all of that if you have not already. Anto says Carlo Ancelotti can change Varane's opinion on the move. He could do, but the rumours coming in is even though Ancelotti's come in, Varane is still set on leaving Real Madrid. But we don't know. Maybe Varane could sign a contract at Real Madrid, or, you know, it depends how much money Real Madrid offer him. My hair's in my way, so I'm just trying to get out of the way. But I think we'll have to see where that goes. I'm just going to scroll down and try and read out some of the live chats I've missed. So if you have any questions for me, bang them out in the live chat. Subscribe if you're new, share this video, and all of that. Is Lukaku staying into? There is a rumour about Lukaku staying. I think the latest on the Chelsea transfer news front is they're going for Haaland, not Lukaku. But the situation is, Dortmund will only sell one of Haaland or Lukaku. They won't sell both. And I think Haaland will stay a year because Sancho's been waiting a year to leave. I think Haaland will stay another year, which means Chelsea can't get Haaland. I don't think Chelsea will get Kane because how expensive he is. And I don't think Kane would want to go to Chelsea because I think that would piss off fans, which means Lukaku's the only big option out there for Chelsea. So if Lukaku is staying at Inter and Chelsea want an attacker, they could turn their attention to Jadon Sancho, which would put us under a lot of pressure. Now, even if Chelsea do turn their attention to Jadon Sancho, and even though Chelsea are a lot more efficient in the transfer market than Man United, I think if Chelsea start moving in for Jadon Sancho, I think Man United would hurry up and get the deal done. Because we have an agreement with Jadon Sancho. Man United have an agreement with Jadon Sancho, while Chelsea don't. So all we need to do is hurry up and pay the money to Dortmund. And I think because we're the only team with an agreement for Jadon Sancho on principle, you know, Jadon Sancho's agreed to join personal terms, that's why we're waiting long. But I think if a team slid in for Jadon Sancho, we would snap up and hurry up. But yeah, there's a rumour that Lukaku won't leave Inter, but I hope Lukaku. Well, I don't hope Lukaku goes to Chelsea because he'd improve them, but I really hope that Chelsea are definitely still in for a striker. Swap Lindelof for Sancho. I mean, fuck, if we pulled that off, fair play to the board, but that's really not realistic. Steve says he thinks Arteta will get sacked before Ole. He thinks Arteta will get sacked before Ole. Arsenal way off the top of the Man U. Arsenal are way off top four. At least Man U are a top four club. Like Arsenal aren't even near top four. Like they really are. Banter FC. SM says Saha wants out and we get 25% of his fee when he leaves. Inter still owe us 45 million for Lukaku. Yeah, that's interesting. We have a lot of money coming our way. So why don't we go and spend some if we've got some coming our way, guys? But yeah, that's a very, very interesting point. Madhu says, get us Basuma or Sakaria. Please stay away from Rice. He could be another Maguire overrated English player. And this guy here makes a really, really solid point. Now, I'm a big fan of Declan Rice, and I think Declan Rice would definitely improve the midfield. But if I'm being honest, 80 million for Declan Rice is quite a lot. Like, if we really look at the situation, 80 million for Declan Rice is quite a lot of money. 80, 90 million. When Locatelli, Sakaria, Kessie, Basuma, all 40 million or less. And because we need 3 key areas, we don't just need a CDM, but we also need a centre-back and a right winger. I would say go for a Basuma, go for a Locatelli, go for a Sakaria over Rice, unless you can afford Sancho, Rice, Varane. But if you can't afford Sancho, Rice, Varane, look at your Locatellis, look at your Basumas, look at your Sakarias, because in terms of value for money, Sakaria, Basuma, Locatelli are better than Rice. Now, I do think actually Rice is one of the best CDM options out there. I think indeed he's the best CDM we could get, followed by Rice. But in terms of options, then yeah, I agree completely. Completely. I'm going to read out some more Manchester United news, so stay with me. But we've been talking about Trippier, Varane, and Sancho in this video. I think the Sancho deal has been agreed in principle, but we're still waiting for Man United to agree a price with Dortmund. But it looks like we're playing the long game for Jadon Sancho. Kieran Trippier could be the next player headed to Manchester United, is the news coming in, which is a really, really interesting one. And of course, there's a rumour that we have gone in for RAPHAEL VARANE. Now I'm going to quickly read out a little bit more transfer news for all of you guys, and then I'll read out some more live comments and chats. If you have any comments or live chats for me, put them down in the live chat, put it in the comments. If you have any questions about transfers, if you have any questions for me, any comments you want to make, put it in the live chats, and we'll be reading out a lot of my live chats in just a sec. I'm just going to read out a little bit more transfer news. So Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, reliable source, says Kieran Trippier is a very live target for Manchester United. Work has been initiated to see if Man United can complete the defender's return to Manchester this summer. Now, The Athletic, who get information from Manchester United, now Laurie Whitwell works for Athletic, has said that United have initiated to see if they can get Kieran Trippier back, and we're starting to work on the deal. Now, the reliable source that gets information from the club is saying that Man United are starting to work on the deal for Trippier, and Trippier could be the next player to join Man United this summer, and could happen before the likes of Sancho, Varane, and other deals. Now, the other story was that Man United have not recently inquired about Villarreal defender Pau Torres. Now, we know we have 5 centre-backs on our shortlist. The news is that Man United have 5 centre-backs on their transfer shortlist, but Pau Torres is one of them. But, you know, Fabrizio Romano says that we admire Pau Torres, but we're not in for him. The rumour is that we're interested in Pau Torres, but he's not a priority. And we've not recently inquired to Villarreal about Pau Torres. I think we're a lot more focused on Varane, followed by Kante. If I was looking at the news on what we know, I think Varane is first choice, Kunde second choice. Then maybe we'd look at Villarreal and stuff. Obviously, we know that Man United want to sign Sanchez. That came out from the Mail, and the Mail also said that Man United wanted to sign Kieran Trippier, which I talked about yesterday. And we already know that Man United signed Aston Villa keeper Tom Heaton. Another really interesting bit of information that came out regarding Jadon Sancho is that Man United are front runners for Sancho, who previously had £108 million asking price, but that has been dropped by Dortmund. But no deal has been finalised, as United are keen not to be ripped off. The story is that Man United have agreed everything with Sancho. Between Man United and Sancho, basically all the agreements are made and the principles made, but we don't want to be ripped off by Dortmund, so we've not made any move for Sancho. Now, like 3-4 days ago, I talked about a story that said that we were making a secret move for Sancho, we're making a secret bid for Sancho, but the news coming out today reports that story could be false, and that in fact we're not making any moves for Sancho as of right now. You know, we don't want to be ripped off. Now, you know, obviously there's a lot of news about RAPHAEL VARANE to Manchester United, and another interesting one is that West Ham's Declan Rice and Villarreal Pau Torres have been mentioned as targets. So I don't think we will get Declan Rice, and I don't think we will get Pau Torres, but we know they're on our target list. Now, the story is saying that we want Sancho, we want Varane. The stories are saying we want Sancho, Varane, and Trippier this summer. We want Sancho, Varane, and Trippier this summer, according to the stories coming out. Whereas players like Declan Rice and Pau Torres that we've been linked to are just a target. So if you want me to put money on who Man United are going to sign, I guess you go Sancho, Varane, Trippier, and players like Rice, players like Pau Torres are just targets of us if we can't get them. So if we fuck up Varane, maybe we go for Pau Torres. I think that is sort of the situation regarding Manchester United. I will read out a few live chats in just a second, so get your live chats in and all of that. Sorry if I've missed out any big live chats. I'll try and read out as much as possible and all of that. But I'm just going to quickly update you on the whole situation. The whole agreement we have with Sancho still stands. We agreed personal terms with Sancho a year ago. That still stands. Our deal is still agreed with Sancho. The principles are in place for Sancho to join us. We are just now playing the long game, the waiting game with Borussia Dortmund, just to see how much money we can get off Sancho. But the Athletic have confirmed a reliable source that Jadon Sancho wants United over Chelsea, and United are still, in fact, the front runners for Sancho. The other news is that we are very, very likely to get Kieran Trippier. That's the story that's coming out, and that he is a target. We're interested in Kieran Trippier, and a move is possible and could be likely in the coming days. So if I was to predict who Man United's first summer transfer signing would be after Tom Heaton, I guess I put my money on Trippier because I think Sancho's a waiting game. I think Sancho up and after the Euros. And we obviously know that Man United are very, very interested in Varane. and we're looking to make a long-term deal for Varane. Now, there's a rumour that we've offered Varane a 5-year contract, but that's only come from ABC via Sport Witness. So it's something to keep an eye on, but again, not the most reliable source. So I think you have to take it with a pinch of salt. The story is Sancho will be £77 million, but apparently Man United view £77 million is too much for Sancho because we're saving money FC. I tell you what, if Chelsea were going to make a bid for Sancho this week, we'd hurry up and pay that £77 million. The only reason we haven't gone and completed the Sancho deal is because there's no pressure on us because Sancho wants United. If any other team was in for Sancho or Sancho wanted to go to any other team, we would have hurried up and got this deal done. But we have no pressure on us, so we can play the long game with Sancho, which is frustrating because we're going to see if we can get for £75 million, not £77 million. If you have not already, please hit that like button and subscribe down below to Alice Talks, where I do daily Manchester United content and live streams throughout the transfer window. So keep hitting that like button, subscribe for daily Manchester United content so you don't miss out. If there's any transfer news, if we sign any players, Alice Talks Football will be the first to update you. So make sure you subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you're not subscribed. Smash that like button. I'm going to be reading out a few live chats and then I'll get into a little bit more transfer news. Steve says, what Brazilian player who did not play for Man United would you wish did? I say Ronaldinho. I say Ronaldinho as well. I completely agree with you. Oli not getting sacked. A lot of people asking if Ollie's getting sacked. Would Ollie be sacked and all of that? Ollie's going to be offered a new 3-year deal. Ollie's not getting sacked. Ollie's staying at United. If we're in a shit place by Christmas, he'll get sacked. But Ollie's going to be United manager till Christmas. So for anyone wondering, is Ollie going to get sacked because he bought the Europa League final? Ollie ain't getting sacked. Ollie is not getting sacked. Berkey says Man United should sign Sancho and Depay. Now, I think Depay to Barcelona is pretty much a done deal, but I agree we should sign Sancho, and I personally believe we will sign Sancho, as I said earlier, and I hate talking about Sancho because I talk about Sancho every fucking video. It's so frustrating, but it's always news. Sancho to Man United. United are playing the long game to try and save a couple quid. As I said earlier, Jadon Sancho to Manchester United is the exact same as Bruno Fernandes to Man United. When we first wanted Bruno, we didn't get him. When we first wanted Sancho, we didn't get him because we didn't want to pay the money that Sporting were asking for. We didn't want to pay the money that Dortmund were asking for. The next transfer window in, we go for Bruno Fernandes. It's made clear the first week of the transfer window in January that Bruno Fernandes was our first choice target and we were going to go all out for Bruno Fernandes and the deal was close. But we waited till the end of January to get Bruno Fernandes done just to see if we could save money. That's exactly what we're doing with Sancho. I think we have the intention of getting Sancho. I think we will get Sancho. It's pretty clear that we will get Sancho because why spend we didn't get Sancho last summer, so why go back in for Sancho this summer and do it all again if we are just going to end up not paying the money for him? I think we will get Sancho this summer, but I think United are just going to wait right to the end of the transfer window to drag the deal out to try and save a couple of quid and all of that. Chelsea are not getting Sancho, end of. Yeah, to be fair, there's a possibility Chelsea will get Sancho, but Sancho wants United. The Athletic have made it clear that Sancho wants United. All the sources saying Sancho wants United. It's possible Chelsea get Sancho if we fuck up, but it's very, very unlikely that we're going to fuck up the Sancho deal because I don't think the Glazers can afford to. I don't think the Glazers can afford to miss out on Sancho because we missed out on Sancho last summer. The fallout was massive. The pressure the Glazers are under with their apologies with the Super League, the Glazers can't afford another fuck up. So I do agree with this comment that look, if Man United don't get Sancho and he leaves Dortmund, he will go to Chelsea. I think Chelsea are second favourites. But I think we are very comfortable leading the race for Sancho, considering we already have an agreement with Sancho. Sancho's agreed to join United. Like Man United and Sancho already have an agreement. In principle, personal terms agreed. All the terms of us and Sancho is agreed. We've known that for a year, and it's been confirmed that the principles of that agreement still stay in place. Chelsea and Sancho don't have an agreement. Chelsea are better at getting transfer business done. If Chelsea want a player, they'll pay the money, hurry up and get it done because they have ambitious owners. But Chelsea's our biggest competition for Sancho. But Chelsea and Sancho don't have an agreement, whereas Man United and Sancho do have an agreement. The problem with Man United is Man United can't find an agreement with Borussia Dortmund because we don't want to pay the money they're asking for because we're tight bastards. But I still think we are leading the race for Sancho. Please hit that like button if you haven't already and subscribe down below to Alice Talks for daily Manchester United content. I'll be updating you on all the latest Manchester United content throughout the transfer window, doing 5 streams a night. So if we sign a player and all the latest news regarding Manchester United, if you're subscribed, you'll be updated on everything you need to know regarding Man United and this transfer window and all of that. All we have to do is pay £80 million to Dortmund and then do other signings. Exactly. As I said earlier, if Man United want Sancho, they just need to go to Dortmund, pay £80 million, and the deal is done. The deal is done. But we're playing the waiting game just to see if we can get it for £75 million. And it's absolutely stupid. Get more comments in the live chat. I'm going to try and read out as many live chats as possible. So if any questions or comments, try and comment them down below. I'm going to see how many live chats I can read out. Anto said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will get sacked soon because he will fail in big games, and next season will be tougher one, even if Sancho signs. Look, I think you have to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to Christmas. I think you've got to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this window. But if we're not in a good position by Christmas, maybe he has to go. If we're not close to winning any trophy, if we don't win any trophies this time next year, as I said, and say we don't win a trophy, but we're in a Champions League final, we're 1 point off a Premier League, he stays. But if we're not, pardon me, if we're not close to winning a trophy and if we don't win a trophy this time next year, even if Solskjaer's backed or not backed, I think you have to sack him. Now, hopefully Solskjaer will be back, but you just never know with the Glazers. Will they back Sancho? Will they not? Varane will win Euros and his price will raise. Well, Varane's price is about 35 million quid, 35 to 40 million euros, around 30 million quid for Varane, which is a bargain. That is the rumoured price. Now, Varane is still set on leaving Real Madrid, even with Ancelotti coming in. It's the other story. However, you never know. Could Ancelotti convince Varane to stay? You know, I think if Man United want Varane, it's one to get done before the Euros, because I think his price is very, very low now. His price is very affordable, and I would try and get an agreement with Varane. But I tell you what, Varane, as I said earlier, Varane to Man United is the exact same situation as Thiago to Man United last summer. Man United, Liverpool, and 3 other teams were in for Bayern Munich's Thiago because he had 1 year left on his contract, so he was going to go for £30 million, and he's a world-class player. That's the same situation with Varane. So Man United, I think, would pay the money for Varane. We're clearly interested in Varane. That's been confirmed from Fabrizio Romano and very, very reliable journalists. It's just, will Varane want Man United? If Varane wants to go to PSG, PSG will get him. If Varane wants to go to Chelsea, Chelsea will get him. If Varane wants to go to Man United, then Man United will get him. I think the thing is we can't put all our eggs in one basket with Varane. And I think it's pretty clear Varane is our first choice centre-back signing. There's a rumour that we've offered him a 5-year contract with high wages. But we can't put all our eggs into the Varane basket in case Varane doesn't want us. You know, we know Sancho wants us. We know Sancho will choose us over Chelsea. So why don't we put all our eggs in the Sancho basket? Because we're tight bastards that don't want to pay the money because the owners are corrupt. But we don't know if Varane wants us. So I think, you know, we should be interested in Varane. I think we should go for Varane. But we definitely need to look at options because apparently we're calling our interest in Pau Torres, which, to be fair, I think is the right decision. I don't think Pau Torres is the right centre-back for Man United. But I think if we can't get Varane, we have to go right for Koundé and all of that. JB says, so Alice, is it more likely that Man United will sign Sancho after the Euros? Thought you might have made an official bid for him. There was a rumour that Man United had made an official bid for Sancho. There's a rumour that Man United were making secret talks with Sancho and all of that. But what's going on with Sancho right now is Man United and Sancho have an agreement, and you know everything's agreed between Man United and Sancho in principle. That agreement stays with Man United and Sancho. But we've got to agree on a price with Dortmund, and you know what we're like with transfers. I think we'll wait till after the Euros. I think if we're going to sign a player before the Euros, it will be Kieran Trippier. But the interesting story is Dortmund have apparently already lined up a replacement for Jadon Sancho. Like Dortmund already have their replacement planned. So I think Dortmund want to get on with their transfer business. So they're probably waiting for Man United to make a bid, and they're probably getting fed up. And if I was Dortmund, I would make a deadline for 1 week after the Euros. Because if you make a deadline for 1 week after the Euros, I think Man United will just hurry up and go for that deadline. So I'm just sweating in my chair, so I'm moving forward. But I just think, you know, United are going to play the long game with Sancho, but I think we will get him in the end. But I think if we were going to get a player before the Euros, it would be Trippier, going off the transfer news that I know. But you just don't know with United. Like, I think we all thought, like this time a year ago, I think we all thought we were going to get Bellingham. We didn't get him because he chose Dortmund over us. Jack Grealish, we didn't get him because he was too expensive, so we went for Donny van de Beek. And Sancho, this time last year, we thought we were going to get Grealish, Sancho, and Jude Bellingham. We didn't get any of them. If someone had told me a year ago we were going to get Cavani, Donny van de Beek, and Telles and Amad Diallo in the window, I'd be like, well, that doesn't surprise me because it's United, but I am surprised that. We knew we were probably going to get Donny van de Beek because we were linked to him a lot. Donny van de Beek's like a Kieran Trippier. You know, we were linked to Grealish more than Van de Beek, but we got Van de Beek because like it was the cheap alternative to Grealish, and we have been linked to him a bit. I think we'll get Trippier because we're linked to him here and there, and he's just a cheap sign, and we'll get Trippier. I think we'll get Jadon Sancho because we can't afford to get Jadon Sancho. But we're linked to players like Varane. We're linked to players like Declan Rice. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if we just went up and just signed some Bundesliga attacking midfielder or some Bundesliga keeper. I think we will sign a keeper, but United are just so unpredictable in the transfer window. Like, that's one thing I have to say. We're just absolutely stupidly unpredictable. You know, we just really are. Sahed says Sancho will be busy chasing back to try and pick up the ball. He's not going to work out at United. That's interesting. I think Sancho will work out at United. I think most people do. I think Sancho's a world-class player. But one thing I give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer credit for is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has improved our attackers. Now, have our defenders improved? Have our defenders got better under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Apart from Luke Shaw, no. Defensively, we know Man United need a defensive coach. Set-piece coach, defensively, we're not good. But Marcus Rashford, I know he's playing with an injury and I know he's been crap second half of the season, but Marcus Rashford definitely improved under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Martial, yes, I know he's had an off season, but last season, fantastic. Turned into a real number 9. Martial definitely improved under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Greenwood's come through and looks good under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Sancho has all the capabilities, talent, and ability to be a good player, and we know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer improves attackers. So I'm not worried about Sancho to Man United because we need a right wing. He's skillful. He's the type of player we need. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't really let attackers. I don't think any attackers have necessarily flopped under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Cavani's come in and worked and scored. We thought Cavani would be a flop. Cavani wasn't a flop. Like, most people think Sancho would work. Most people thought Cavani would be a flop. Cavani wasn't a flop. And you have to give it to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. None of the attackers we've signed under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer have been flops. My hair is just pissing me off today. It's really annoying me. I won't. Just says Man United be having a second thought on Ole's 5-month talk, but no contract. Give him a new contract, second 5 months later, having to pay him off. There is rumours that we're going to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a new 3-year deal, but like we don't really know what's going on. Like that hasn't been agreed. But I think Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer have a 3-year deal behind the scenes. I think we're just waiting for a good time to announce that. I reckon if we won the Europa League, they would have announced Ole's new contract. But I think because we didn't win the Europa League, they don't want to announce Ole's new contract because of PR spin. But I'm pretty sure Ole has already agreed a 3-year new contract. They're just waiting to announce it at a good time. This guy says no one's going to pay 85 million for Sancho. United will pay 85 million pounds for Sancho, even if it's the last week of the transfer window. Because unless we sign another big player, we can't afford to miss out on Sancho. We had a shit window last summer because we wasted all our time trying to get Sancho done. We had an absolutely shocking window last summer because we just wasted all our time trying to get Sancho done. The fallout at the end of the last window was massive. Okay, but then we had an even bigger fallout with the Super League. The Glazers have tried to apologise twice. Joel Glazer's going on the fan forum tomorrow trying to win back the fans. The Glazers are doing everything they can to win back the fans. And if we're this in for Jadon Sancho again and we don't get him, the fallout will be so big, the protest will be so big that it will bite the Glazers in the arse. So I think no matter the price for Jadon Sancho, the Glazers will end up paying it because they know the only way they can win the fans back and get the pressure off them and get their stocks back, get the buyers back, because the Glazers out protest, the Liverpool protest actually affected the Glazers' pockets. The stocks went down, sponsorships pulled out of deals. The only way the Glazers can get us back is a good transfer window, as sad as that is. Some fans will be won back to Man United if we have a good transfer window. If we have a good transfer window, if we sign Sancho, at the end of the day, whether you're Glazers in, you're Glazers out, I mean, who is Glazers in? I don't know. But if the Glazers sign Sancho, they're going to win back a lot of fans. A lot of less fans will be Glazers out, and a lot more fans will be buying shirt sales. Buying shirt sales, Glazers more money. What gets you shirt sales? Sancho. Our shirt sales have been down the last 2 seasons. Adidas are putting pressure on the Glazers saying your shirt sales have fallen. You signed Sancho's shirt sales up. Why have we not announced our new kit for next season? Because they're probably waiting to announce our new kit the time we're waiting to announce Sancho. I think it's all part of this plan. United are the team that do anything to make as much money as they can and save as much money as they can. And I think with Sancho, if we don't get Sancho, the fallout will be so big that we lose £85 million. I think if we sign Sancho, we win that £85 million back because the fans will be up, the stocks will be up and all of that. And I just think we will pay £85 million because, as I've said a million times on this channel, the Glazers can't afford to fuck up Sancho. United just signed Saul from Atletico, Pod believes, says Ashan. Now there's a rumour about Saul to Man United, but it's come out from Marca, and we get linked to Saul every summer from the same source, and it never happens. If Pod believes, Saul will be linked to a lot. But I think if we sell Pogba, we go for a CDM because Donny van der Beek and Scott McTominay can play box to box. I generally do, but that's just my opinion because I just think we desperately need a CDM. I'm just getting a quick swig of water, but any comments you have or questions regarding transfers, put in the live chat. Subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football for daily Manchester United content. I'll be doing daily Manchester United transfer content throughout the transfer window. So if we sign a player and if there's any big updates, I will update you on the channel. So subscribe so you don't miss out on any Man United transfer news. And if you have any questions, put your questions in the live chat. I'm going to read out a load of live chat. So transfer news questions, put them below. I'm just taking a swig of water, then I'll read out my live chat. So I'm going to read out some questions that you guys have for me. So if you have any questions, again, put them in the live chat. This guy says, let's buy Ndidi, Koundé, Sancho, and Kane. Then both win the EPL and Champions League trophy in 2022. If it was FIFA, that's what I do. Not very realistic, but I completely agree with you. Like, if we did that, I'd be over the moon. If we signed them 4 players, I'd be over the moon. And I think we could win a Premier League trophy and a Champions League trophy if we signed those 4 players. But at the end of the day, you know, we're owned by the Glazers, not Sheikh Mansour. So very, very, it's not FIFA, basically. But yeah, I do agree. That's what I'd love to see. Pumped the cash and brought 6 players. Trent is so much better than Wan-Bissaka, in my opinion. I am a Liverpool fan. Well, of course, you're a Liverpool fan. Trent's better going forward. Wan-Bissaka's better defending, to be fair. I mean, look, I think Trent on his day is the best right back in the world. I'm trying to get comfy in my chair because I'm absolutely sweating. So sorry if I'm moving around and pissing you off. But yeah. JB says football under Ollie has been good. Won 9-0 against Southampton, 5-0 against RB Leipzig, won 6-2 against Leeds and 6-2 against Roma. Yeah, again, the one thing about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is we scored a lot of goals. We scored a lot of goals. All the attackers we've had and brought in have been successes under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's defenders and midfield that we worry about. And now the camera's gone all blurry. Thank you very much, camera. But the thing about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as I said earlier, he proves attack and we do score goals. Even though we're playing negative defensive football, we scored a lot of goals this season. And I just think, you know, talking to the person that said that Sancho could be a flop, I think if we sign Sancho, he'll get a lot more goals at United because I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager has proven, okay, yes, the defensive coaching is awful. Yes, like defensively we're not great, but all our attackers have improved under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And for some reason, my camera won't focus, guys. So I'm sorry if this is really off-putting as I stare into the camera, but it wasn't focusing for a second. It's just kind of annoying. So I'm sorry if my camera's a little bit blurry. If you're new and you have not already, please subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. I'll be updating you daily in the transfer window, giving you all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news throughout the transfer window. So as I've said that, subscribe so you don't miss anything out. I'm trying to read out as many live chats as I can, but like it's just hard to read them all because I've got quite a few in. So just keep repeating, keep commenting your live chats or questions you might have. Sancho Rice Varane would be a dream transfer window. Who do we sell and use that money to transfer? I think Lingard's going to go. I think Delo's going to go. I think Mata and Matic, Daniel James, Pereira will probably go. Maybe Martial goes, maybe Pogba knows. I think after the Euros, we'll have a great indication of who we're buying or selling. I think it's still quite hard to predict how the transfer window is going to go. Now, if I was to predict right now who we're going to sign, I say Sancho, Trippier and a centre-back, hopefully Varane, but you just don't know. Why is my camera quality just turned absolute shite? I don't know, but it just has. So sorry about that. But I think after the Euros, we'll know who we're going to sign and who we're going to sell a lot more. I think the annoying thing about the Euros is we don't know. I don't think we'll have an idea if Pogba's staying or Martial's staying until afterwards. Although Martial won't be at the Euros. Any Basuma rumours? That's almost like a tongue twister there. Would be a good alternative at CDM. 40 million is a bargain. Yeah, I've talked about Basuma, Sakaria, Kessie, Locatelli. Declan Rice is £90 million. Man United will not buy Declan Rice for £90 million. If we're going to spend £80 million on Sancho and £40 million on Varane or £30 million on Varane and £50 million on Trippier, we won't spend £90 million on Declan Rice. We'll only have one big signing and every other signing will be on £50 million. Now, we need a CDM. I think Man United know we need a CDM. And if we're an ambitious club, you could say we could get Declan Rice and use Lingard. But I'm pretty confident we won't sign Declan Rice. Now, if we sign Declan Rice, I will give away £100 to one of you viewers. If we sign Declan Rice or Harry Kane or Erling Haaland, I will give £100 away. Now, Declan Rice is the most realistic of them three because Fabrizio Romano said, look, we ain't getting a striker. Cavani stayed for a year. But because Declan Rice is £90 million, we won't get Declan Rice unless Pogba goes, unless Martial goes, or unless we massively fuck up the Sancho deal when he goes to Chelsea and we need to think of anything to win the fans back. Because realistically, if we fuck up the Sancho deal, the Glazers will be under so much pressure they have to do something to win the fans back. So Harry Kane, Declan Rice is that signing, but I don't think we're going to get Declan Rice. What's my camera quality like, guys? Because on my screen, it's really blurry and it's kind of bugging me. If you have not already, please hit that like button. And if you're new and you've not seen my face before, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football for daily Manchester United content. If we sign a pair, if there's any Man United updates throughout the transfer window, if you're subscribed, you'll constantly stay updated on all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Tomorrow, Joel Clays will be in Old Trafford to discuss with fans. I don't think he'll be at Old Trafford, but he's going on the fan forum. I might do a live stream tomorrow, but I might be going out tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll talk. Whatever's said on the fan forum, it will be covered in tomorrow or Saturday's video. So keep an eye out for that because Joel Glazer is apparently going on the fan forum tomorrow. So, you know, I'm not really sure what that means, and it's not like he's making an appearance, but it's their attempt to try and act like they care about the club and all that and see if they could win some fans back. The defence is poor under Ollie. Yeah, the defence is poor under Ollie. We need a defensive coach. We need a set-piece coach. 100%. Wan-Bissaka has the chance to show up in the Euros because Trent Alexander-Arnold's injured. Now, talking of the Euros, I think Jesse Lingard is actually the favourite to replace Trent. Trent's pulled out the Euros with an injury. We didn't need 4 right-backs, but I would have taken probably Trippier or Reece James out, to be fair. I think Reece James is a good player. but I don't think he offers more than Trent personally. But you know, it is what it is. And all of that. But yeah, Wan-Bissaka ain't going to get called up. I think the rumour is it's going to be Lingard to get called up to the Euros. How are you guys feeling about the Euros, actually? Interesting question. Who do you think is going to win the Euros down below? Let me know live. Let me know in the live chat. Talk really fast and annoy me. I think France will win the Euros, but I'm really intrigued actually to be like, who do you guys think is going to win the Euros? Like, who are you putting your money on? Like, I think England will bottle it. I support England, but we'll probably bottle it. Like, we're the type of team to probably lose to Scotland. Let Scotland get out of the group and absolutely bottle it, because I don't race Southgate. But we'll have to keep an eye out for that. My Dortmund source says the Sancho deal will happen. How far England go, depending on how far England go in the Euros, then he will have a 1 week holiday, and after that it can be done. I don't know where your source is, so just gents, let me know your scores down below. But I think Sancho will happen after the Euros. I think Man United will play the long game with Jadon Sancho, and I think the deal will happen after the Euros. West Ham and Newcastle want Jones. I hope you sell him. If Phil Jones stays another year at Manchester United, it's an absolute fucking joke. He's not played this whole season. Phil Jones hasn't had 1 minute this season. He's not good enough. He's injury prone. He's old. If we don't sell Phil Jones, it's an absolute joke. Let him go on a free. Let him go. Rip up his contract. Why is Phil Jones at the club? Absolute joke. Someone says Firmino's better than Cavani. Probably someone on drugs there. If Pogba leaves Manchester United this summer, then he's the worst signing for Man United. If Pogba leaves next summer on a free, and he's a record signing, leaves on a free, then yeah, it's a flop. But at the end of the day, Pogba's a quality player. Has he been £100 million worth? No. If we sign Pogba for 40 million, would he be a good signing? Yes. Value for money, Pogba hasn't been a great signing, but I don't think you can say he's a flop because he still plays well, just not consistently well, I guess. Neves should be a target. There was a rumour about Neves leaving Wolves, and that would be a really interesting one to keep an eye on. Look, Neves is a good player. I don't think he's had the best season at Wolves. But I would be shocked if we got Neves. I think, Declan Rice was the only CDM we're really being linked to, which is a shame because I think Basuma, Sakaria, Kessie, and Didi, Locatelli, we need a CDM. But, yeah. Wait, I'm trying to... Neves is shit, even better, even Fred better. Someone says Fred's better than Neves. I actually do like Fred. I think the Fred hate is a bit too far, but yeah. Anto says, do you think Varane can transform Manchester United as title contenders just like Virgil van Dijk transformed Liverpool into title contenders? I don't know. I never thought Ruben Dias was going to have the impact he had on City, and he did. I think Varane will help our defence. I think it will pace, but I would rather go for Koundé because I think Koundé's young. I think the thing about Varane is he played with Ramos. That's a world-class centre-back. So I think Varane playing with Ramos makes him look better than he is. Now, Varane's a top centre-back, basically won everything in football. But the thing about Varane is because he's played with Ramos and Ramos has carried him in his prime, you just don't know about Varane. I think Varane's a great player. I think he'll be a great signing, but I don't know if he's going to have that Virgil van Dijk, Ruben Dias impact. Now, Man United, look, we know Man United need a quick centre-back to have that Virgil van Dijk, Ruben Dias impact. I think a centre-back is almost the most important position over CDM. Now, a lot of people say CDM is the most important position. We need a CDM. We get overrun in midfield. But the reason we play Mook Fred so deep in midfield is to protect the centre-backs. Because when we don't play Mook Fred, we can see 2-3 goals a game. The reason we play such defensive negative football is to protect the centre-backs. We play such a deep line to protect the centre-backs. The reason Wan-Bissaka tucks in and isn't as good is because to protect the centre-backs. The minute we get a top centre-back next to Maguire, we can play such a better, more attacking, expansive style of football, and we don't need to have Mook Fred. We can play with one player in the pivot, not two. Remember the end of last season, this time a year ago, we came out the COVID break. We were playing our best football, 4-3-3, Matic, Pogba, Bruno. I think we can go back to that style of football. Maybe we need a CDM to do it because Matic is too old to hold on his own. But I think we can start playing that more attacking style of football if we get a quick centre-back. So I think quick centre-back is the most important position we can get because, again, even if you look at Van Dijk, turn Liverpool from top 4 to Champions League and Premier League winners. Ruben Dias turn Man City from being 20 points off a title to comfortably winning the title this year and getting to the first ever Champions League final. A top centre-back could be the signing to take us from top 4 to a Champions League final or to be in a title race. So even when Liverpool didn't win the title, they were 1-2 points off the title race. Look, I think we need a CDM as well, but I do think a top centre-back could step us up that level to put us in a title race. And my hair is pissing me off today. It's really annoying me. I won't lie to you there. So this guy says Cavani would piss all over Firmino, make him smell. Yeah, I don't know who's saying Firmino's better than Cavani, but that's true. Leaked design of our kits is a bit better. Yeah, there is a leaked design of Man United kits, and someone asked me to get up the leaked design of Man United kits. Now I can't find them, but I've seen them here and there. and I will make a video on the kit, but I need to prepare for that. So maybe my next stream we'll talk about the kits and all of that. But there's a rumour about Man United kits for next season. I have seen a lot of leaked kits. There's a red one, there's a blue one, and a light blue one. But I will get that up for my next stream. So remind me for my next stream, I will get up the Manchester United kits. Yeah, I'm not sure why my video was a bit blurry, guys. I'm really sorry about that. The camera's having struggle focusing at the moment. So just please bear with. Please hit that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football for daily Manchester United content. Throughout the transfer window, if we sign a player, if there's any big updates, I will keep you updated. So like, subscribe, share this video. This guy said, would you rather have a class centre-back behind Fred or a class CDM in front of Magaluf? I mean, I just said I think the centre-back's a priority, but I'd rather stick with Magaluf and have a class CDM in front, just because I think Matic can't do it anymore, and I think we don't have any depth in the CDM area. The thing with Magaluf or Maguire and Lindelof is at least there's two Nzebe, at least there's Bailly. I think Matic is done. You know, we don't have anyone that can hold on their own. So I guess I would go for a class CDM. Talking to Nzebe, this guy says, is it not worth while giving Nzebe a chance, young, quick, and a United fan? Exactly. Nzebe deserved more minutes this season. I think maybe if it wasn't for the horrific injury he got last season, he would have played a lot more towards the end of last season. Ollie would trust him. I think Nzebe's been unlucky not to play that much this season. I think Nzebe's a terrific player, and I think he deserves more minutes. I just don't think he'll get it under Ollie. And the thing that annoys me is if we look at our players, Green was injured. He's been run to the ground at the end of the season. Maguire's injured and probably going to play in the Euros. Rashford's playing in the Euros with an injury. Martial is injured. A lot of our players are injured because they've been run to the ground this season. I think next season, one thing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer must do is rotate more. One thing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to do next season is rotate more, because a lot of our players have been run to the ground this season. They're not looking their best. They've been run to the ground. Pogba free roll if we buy CDM. I think one of the reasons it's really important we buy CDM is because if you look at all the Premier League winners in recent years, all the Champions League winners in recent years, they play with one holding player. You know, Manchester City didn't win the Champions League because they didn't have a holding player. Without CDM, Man City were crap. CDM is the most important position because you give the top CDM, Pogba and Bruno can play as 2-8s and have that free roll. The best football Man United have played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was Matic, Pogba, Bruno in the midfield, where Matic was just at his best. It meant Pogba was brilliant and free. It meant Bruno was brilliant and free. And that's the best football Man United have played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I think, yeah, having a CDM gives us that free thing, 100%. Anto says Manchester City already winning titles before Ruben Dias. I don't think Ruben Dias made any bigger impact. Man City finished 27, 18, 100 points. That's their best, yeah. But what I mean is when Company left, Man City fell a bit. So when Company left, Liverpool ran away with the league last season, and Man City were not near winning the league last season when Company left. Because their defence, Man City's defence without Company was awful. The start of this season and when Company left last season, Man City's defence was falling apart. Ruben Dias comes in and just gets Man City to that Champions League final and gets them a comfortable title. What I'm saying is Ruben Dias did have a big impact on Man City because I think he's been their Company replacement. I think the reason Liverpool ran away with the league so easily last season is because Company had such a big impact on Man City, and when they lost him, they really fell down the drain completely. And Golo Kante enters the chat. Mate, I love Kante at United. How good was Kante in the Champions League final? Kante was so good in the Champions League final. Like, that's why we need a top CDM. Again, games are, I say this all the time on my channel, games are won and lost in midfield, guys. Games are 100% won and lost in the midfield. Man City don't have a CDM. Chelsea have Kante as a CDM in the Champions League final. Who wins the Champions League final? Chelsea. Overall, Man City have a better team than Chelsea. But Chelsea constantly beating Man City because they have a better midfield. Kante, I tell you what, Kante over Lampard, a lot of people thought he was done. A lot of people thought N'Golo Kante was done under Lampard. But Kante under Tuchel has been fantastic. And I show you what, a manager can just revive a player. A manager can revive a player. Jose almost killed Martial. Martial, brilliant under Ole. I know he's been crap this season. But I would love Kante at Man United. I'd love a CDM. I'd love a CDM. The frustrating thing is I don't think we're going to sign a CDM this summer, guys. Like, I could sit here and go, I think we could sign Sancho. I'm optimistic we'll sign Sancho. I think there's a good chance we can sign Trippier. I think there's a good chance we could get Varane if Varane wants United. But the one thing is, on none of these streams have I been able to say, I don't think Man United will sign CDM. I worry we won't get a CDM this summer. And I do think that maybe CDM is the most important position. But I'm not sure why we're not going for a CDM. Maybe at the end of the window we will. But that is the worrying thing, that, you know, there's no strong indication that Man United are all in for a CDM. Like, no, that worries me. Like, Do you know there's Leicester signed Suma for 20 million quid. Affordable, one League One, CDM that we'd already been monitoring. We've been monitoring Suma for 2 years, and he's one League One, and we let him go to Leicester for 20 million quid. That could have been the CDM spot done for 20 million quid. 20 million quid, guys, you hearing that? That's cheap. Daniel James is about 15. Like, 20 million quid to Man United is nothing. Like, 100%. I don't know why. I don't know why we didn't get CDM, and I tell you what, that really frustrates me. Keep hitting that like button, subscribe down below, and share this video. If you've not already subscribed to Alice Talks Football, please do subscribe for daily Manchester United content throughout the transfer window, so you don't miss out on any content. Make sure you're subscribed, and of course, put any comments or questions you have in the live chat. I'm going to quickly read out my live chat, guys. So if you have any comments or questions for me, put it in the live chat. I'm going to read out as many comments and questions regarding Man United transfers down below in the live chat. So keep commenting while I take a quick swig of my drink. Oh, I was very, very thirsty, guys. So, yeah, I'm going to read out some more comments. Do you think Laporte will be a good signing? He's at City. He's a good player, but he hasn't been great this season. But Laporte is a very, very good player, and is at City. I'm going to see if I can make my camera focus by staring in. I know it's a horrible view, but for some reason, my camera goes really, really blurry. So the only way to get it to work is to just stare into it. But, yeah. Alice, are you having a problem with your camera, Alice? You can fix it. I think I fixed the camera. I think I fixed the camera. Anto says, Paul Pogba was an extensive signing, but now Jordan Henderson is better than him, and that's just a disappointment for Pogba and Manchester United. Jordan Henderson's not better than Paul Pogba. No way. Tuanzebe will become another Bailly. Tuanzebe on his day is brilliant. The thing is, Tuanzebe and Bailly are better than Lindelof, in my opinion. They just don't stay fit and they don't get the chance. But yeah. I think Tuanzebe, Amad Diallo, and Donny van der Beek should have been given a few more opportunities, especially Tuanzebe and Donny van der Beek. Anto says Manchester City banter club signed more centre backs, spent more than £500 million on centre backs alone in the last few years, and Ruben Dias' company is their answer. You make a good point. Varane or Laporte to Man United, I'd take Varane. I think Varane's got more pace. I think it's really important we get centre back with pace. That's why I take Varane at United. I think Kante will stay at Chelsea Football Club next season. Alice, yes, 100%. Kante, yeah, there's no chance Man United are going to get Kante. He's won the Champions League at Chelsea. He likes Chelsea. I'd love him go to Kante, but realistically, that's not going to happen. Chelsea apparently want Declan Rice, but they got Kante. Like, I guess he's Kante's replacement. This guy says, do you think Charlie McNeil will be given chance first team? Under Ollie, it's very hard to get chances unless it's injuries, but I think he could be a player that, like Alanga, that gets a few chances towards the end of the season. But Charlie McNeil broke Reamer's record. Great player. I think he's a player that could definitely break into the first team. Maybe next season, but you just don't know with Ollie because he's not giving out chances to Van der Beek, Amad Diallo, or any players that are ahead of Charlie McNeil. So it's a really difficult one. United will pay Leicester 80 million for Suma in a couple of years. That's the thing. Suma goes to Leicester for 20 million quid. I swear to God, like 2 seasons, we'll be getting him for 80 million. Honestly. What number would Varane wear? I have no idea. 4, 5, one of them. Someone said put your hands in front of the lens to fix blur. I'll try that next time. Next time my camera starts blowing, that is what I will try. If you have any questions for me regarding the transfer news and all of that, please put them in the live chat. I'm going to read out as many live chats as possible. Do you think Varane, Sancho, Basuma, and Trippier is a realistic window? I think it's a realistic window if we have the owners of Roman Abramovich or Sheikh Mansour. I think if we have ambitious owners, that's a realistic window because Sancho is £80 million. Varane is rumoured to be £30 million. That's £110 million. Trippier, £15 million. That's £125 million. Basuma, £35–40 million. Okay, you're looking at £180 million. You get money for Lingard, Deloya, Mata, Matic, James. It's probably a net spend of £120 million for all them players. I think it's realistic, but you just don't know with the Glazers, do you? You just don't know. SM says, I think Ollie will want to see how Ghana does in pre-season before signing a CDM. Possibly. Maybe. Because we know we want Jadon Sancho. We know Jadon Sancho's #1 priority, and the #2 priority is Varane, it looks like. And then Trippier is that bench player that comes in. Now, every Man United fan knows we desperately need a CDM. And Declan Rice would be great, or Basuma would be great. Every Man United fan knows we desperately need a CDM. So maybe Ollie knows that under the Glazers, he's only going to get 2 of the 3 key areas he wants. Maybe Ollie knows the Glazers are only going to get him a CDM on a right wing or a centre-back on the right wing. The situation is maybe Ollie goes with Ghana I risk it because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might see a centre-back as more important as a CDM, because with a centre-back he can play a better style of football and he won't need 2 DMs to protect, and maybe he can use Ghana more. But at the end of the day, look, I like James Conner. He's been quality in the Championship. I think he's a good player. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Man United should be getting a CDM this summer, because look how, if you compare Fred, okay, we have Fred, okay? Chelsea have Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic and Gilmour coming through. Levels ahead of us. Liverpool have Fabinho, even Keita, Wijnaldum, Henderson. Levels ahead. City have not more De Bruyne, it's more attacking, but they have Rodri, Fernandinho, Gundogan. You know, like Fred are behind them all. Fred are like with the Arsenal midfield. And where are Arsenal? 10th, 8th. Do you know what I mean? Honestly. JB says that Pep has spent £500 million on transfers at City and still can't win the Champions League. He can't do it without Messi and Xavi. That's the thing about Pep. You know, he's bottled in the Champions League. The one thing is, I'm pretty sure the 1 year Pep won the Champions League, was that, yeah, I've got a question for you guys. Was the 1 year that Pep won the Champions League the year when Drogba was like, it's a disgrace, when Chelsea got robbed? Was that, like, because I swear to God, the 1 year that Pep actually won the Champions League with Barcelona was the year that Chelsea literally got robbed as well. Like, Pep won the Champions League with the best players in the world and basically should have been knocked out in the semi-final. Am I like being stupid? I feel like the year Pep won it was that it's a disgrace year. This guy says everyone above Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is responsible for transfers and deserves to lose their job compared to Leicester. We are shut at transfers. Yeah, Leicester, smaller club than Man United, less funds, 10 times better in the transfer window. Like, if we had ambitious owners like Leicester and people that knew football in the club, we'd be so much more efficient. Because if you look at every club in the top 4, in the top 6, Leicester better at transfer business. Liverpool, they don't even have the best owners in the world, but they're going to get Rafinha and they've already got Kante done. Okay, and they've got Van Dijk back from injury. Chelsea, we know what they're like in the transfer window. City, we know what they're like in the transfer window. Like, the biggest problem with Man United is our owners. So people going Ole in, Ole out. Ole's staying, let's be honest. I don't know how long he'll stay for, but he's staying for the next couple of months. Let's get the Glazers out. Let's get the Glazers out. Hit that like button if you want the Glazers out, because the Glazers are definitely the biggest problem at Manchester United. Honestly, Tuanzebe is below average. Did you see his performance against Sheffield United? That was a one-off poor performance, but Tuanzebe's dealt with Mbappe and Neymar. I think if Tuanzebe got the opportunity, look, we need a centre-back at the end of the day, but I'd play Tuanzebe over Lindelof. Basuma as a CDM, I'd take Basuma as a CDM. People talk about Basuma a lot. Like, he could go to Arsenal. I don't know why he'd want to go to Arsenal. I'd rather play for Brighton. Arsenal was shit. But look, if we can't get Declan Rice, and I don't think we will get Declan Rice because he's 90 million, I don't know why we haven't been much more linked to Basuma. When Man United played Brighton, Basuma was their best player. Basuma completely outdid McTominay and Fred. Basuma is young, quality. He's going to be 40 million max. We need a CDM. We need a player in that position. Basuma, young, Premier League proven, better than what we have, can play as a CDM, and not going to be super, super pricey. I don't know why Man United just don't go for Basuma. Honestly, I think Man United should go for Basuma. Honestly, I think it's stupid that we don't go for Basuma, but it's just one of them things, isn't it? Rich Sports says Pep needs huge amount of money. He does. The thing is, I feel like if Pep was at Man United, he wouldn't win the league at Man United. But yeah, go subscribe to Rich Sports. He's got his own channel. Make sure you subscribe to him. Pep won it in 2009, 2011 in Barca. It's disgrace. It was 2009. Yeah, that year was a disgrace. Chelsea got robbed in 2009, and I'm a United fan, and Chelsea got completely robbed in 2009, didn't they? United spent almost the same as City, while Pep has been there. Nothing. We've spent a little bit less than City, and I think we've had our net spend's a lot lower than City's. But it's because we have people like Woodward that spend 80 million on Maguire, who is not worth 80 million because we just don't have people in charge of transfers. City have spent their money more efficiently, to be fair to them. City have spent their money a lot more efficiently than Man United. Brentford owners equally as good, literally. Pogba out. I want Pogba to stay, but only if he wants to stay. Like, if I don't want Pogba to go for a free, I think that's a joke. I think it's really, really important that we do get money for Pogba and replace him with a good CDM, or even Grealish, Rice. I don't know, but we should. I think we should keep Pogba. Only 54 likes here for 200 likes, so please hit that like button if you have not already. It would mean a lot if you hit that like button. This comment says, wonder if Raiola is doing the same thing with Pogba what he's doing with Donnarumma right now. Let the contract run down and ask for enormous agent fees. All Marino Raiola cares about is money. So, you could be on something there. If you have any questions, put them down in the live chat. I'm going to read out as many questions as I can before I end the stream and just fill in with the latest transfer news while I take a swig of water. Oh, I'm just so thirsty, guys, honestly. I was going to say something. I just completely slipped my mind, but I will get into some more transfers in a minute. Subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you're not subscribed, because I'm going to be doing daily Manchester United content throughout the transfer window. If you don't want to miss out on any Manchester United news, just subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football so you'll be constantly updated with all the latest Manchester United news. If we sign a player, I'm going to be straight on Alice Talks Football. If we're close to signing a player, I'm going to cover it. If there's any big Man United transfer news, it's going to be covered on Alice Talks Football. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on daily Man United content on Alice Talks Football and all of that. Basuma is a bargain, says Rich Sport. I think Basuma would be a bargain. I would take Basuma. We need a CDM so badly. I'm not sure why we're not going for Basuma. I'm not sure why we're barely linked to him, but I just think, you know what, Declan Rice, £90 million. Basuma's gonna be half the price. Why don't we get him? Honestly, I'm a big fan of Basuma. Honestly, I don't know why we don't get Basuma. But yeah, everyone subscribe to Rich Sports. He's got a great channel. He does content. So subscribe to me, subscribe to Rich Sports if you're watching. We're going to cover a little bit more Manchester United news and all of that. So if you've just joined the stream, the latest is that Constantine Echo, reliable journalist, does stuff for the BBC, confirmed that the agreement with Manchester United and Sancho still stands. Man United and Sancho have an agreement in principle. Everything's agreed between Man United and Sancho. That still stands. That's still the case. The agreement that was a year ago is still the case. And The Athletic has said that Sancho very much wants Man United over Chelsea. So with Man United and Sancho, we're literally in the same position that we've been in for ages. Man United need to agree on a fee with Dortmund for Sancho. Man United need to make a bid. Dortmund have made it clear they want 80 million for Sancho. If we want Sancho, we've got to make that £80 million bid. We have all agreed with Sancho, but we now need to agree with Dortmund. That's the situation with Sancho. Kieran Trippier is the situation where some journalists are saying it's really, really likely, and there's been contact. Some journalists saying there hasn't been contact, but Kieran Trippier is the one to keep an eye on. There's a lot of indication that Kieran Trippier could be the next signing to happen before the Euros. I'd be shocked if Jadon Sancho happened before the Euros. I think we get Jadon Sancho after the Euros, whereas with Kieran Trippier, I think it's a deal that could be likely. However, recent news is saying it's not going to happen. There's nothing in it, and then news yesterday is saying that there's loads in Trippier to Man United. So if I was going to predict our next signing, I'd be safe and go with Trippier because I don't think Sancho will come to after the Euros. But there's a lot of strong stories saying we're going to get Trippier, but then there's a lot of other stories that are saying, oh, we won't get Trippier, which is a weird one. But let me read out the stories on Jadon Sancho, then I'll read out the stories on Trippier. So The Athletic, really reliable source, as I said earlier, get the information from Man United. Said Jadon Sancho is favouring a move to Manchester United and Borussia Dortmund prepared to sell him. We know Dortmund are going to let Sancho go. We know Sancho wants United over Chelsea, and we know that Sancho and United have an agreement. And it was confirmed by Constantine Ecker last night that Man United's agreement with Sancho still stands. The principles are in place. We just need an agreement with Dortmund. And Fabrizio Romano said there will be a big update and will be some updates on Jadon Sancho's situation in the next few days, which is really, really interesting regarding Jadon Sancho and all of that. We also know that Manchester United are in for Kieran Trippier, and we are the front runners for Jadon Sancho, but the deal has not been finalised. The reason apparently we're not going in for Jadon Sancho is because we're scared to be ripped off, which for me is a joke. We know that Jadon Sancho is going to be £80 million. It's confirmed that Dortmund will sell for £80 million. We all know that Jadon Sancho is worth £80 million. I mean, we all have different opinions. If you don't think Jadon Sancho is worth £80 million, that's fine to have your opinion. But I think Jadon Sancho is worth £80 million. We know he's £80 million, but Man United's excuse for not going for Sancho right now is because they think that's a rip-off. Man United are going to play the long game with Sancho, see if we can get for 75 million, not 80, just to save £5 million. That's the situation with Sancho. But the really important thing is our agreement with Sancho still stands. We have agreement with Jadon Sancho in principle. Now, there was a story about Saul Niguez to Man United, but it came out from Marca, so I'm not really going to cover it. But they just say that Man United are interested in Saul Niguez. But talking of the Atletico player, look, Manchester, according to Sam Pilger, look, again, I don't know how reliable this journalist is. He's not a journalist I'm familiar with. But Sam Pilger said that Man United are very interested in Kieran Trippier, and he probably would have already joined Man United in January if he wasn't banned, which I don't know if I believe that. And Sam Pilger says there's a good chance that Kieran Trippier to Man United happens now, which was a really, really interesting one. Now, again, I don't know the journalist, but there's a lot of indication about Kieran Trippier to Man United. And if you're here for the Varane news and you weren't here at the start of the stream, the Varane news is ABC via Sport Witness. So take the story with a pinch of salt because it's from Sport Witness. But they're saying RAPHAEL VARANE has no intention of signing a new deal at Real Madrid because he has a proposal from Manchester United. And apparently, Man United have offered him a 5-year contract with a higher wage than at Real Madrid. Now, that's the story about Varane. So if we're looking at the transfer situation today and what we know, we're playing the long waiting game with Sancho to see if we can save money because we know Sancho wants United. We know that Liverpool aren't realistically going to get him. Liverpool are going to get Rafinha. It's between Man United and Chelsea to sign Sancho again. We're favourites. Sancho wants us. So we're going to play the long game with Sancho, probably get him after the Euros to save £5 million. But our agreement with Sancho in principle was all there. We've agreed everything with Sancho. It's about sorting out Dortmund. We know that Kieran Trippier could be a likely deal, but some journalists are saying it's not going to happen. Some journalists are saying, oh, it's definitely going to happen. So, it's a hard one because you just have to wait for someone like Fabrizio Romano to get on it, honestly. And then, obviously, this news article saying that RAPHAEL VARANE won't stay at Real Madrid. I mean, all the news articles saying Varane is going to leave Real Madrid. And we know Man United are very interested in Varane. And the news article is saying that apparently we've offered Varane a 5-year deal. So that is sort of the latest news in the last 24 hours. Diego says only 31 likes needed for 200 likes, guys. And we've got over 100 people watching. So hit that like button if you haven't already. And subscribe to the channel. It really helps. If you're not subscribed, down below to Alice Talks Football. Subscribe down below because throughout the transfer window, I'm pretty much going to be doing daily videos. There's going to be 5 streams a week throughout the transfer window. So if you're subscribed to me, if we sign a player, if we're close to signing a player, if there's any big news regarding Manchester United, you won't miss out on any of it if you subscribe to Alice Talks Football because I'm going all out in the transfer window. So we'll talk about every single bit of news in the transfer window. I'm going all out on. So subscribe for that. But the final price for Jadon Sancho is £79.9 million. That's the final price for Jadon Sancho, £79.9 million. Hopefully, United pay it. As I've said, yes, United are playing the waiting game with Sancho. Yes, we have everything agreed with Sancho, but we're not going to agree a deal with Dortmund to after the Euros because I bet Man United are thinking if we wait ages to sign Sancho, we could save £3 million, but they don't end up spending £3 million and they just spend £80 million on Sancho. As I said, time and time again, Jadon Sancho is the same as Bruno Fernandes. When Man United first went in for Bruno Fernandes, they didn't want to pay the money, so the next window they went and got Bruno. But in the January window, we were linked to Bruno really strongly at the start of the January window, but we wait to the end of January window just to see if we can save money. We are doing the exact same with Jadon Sancho. If we didn't want Jadon Sancho, if we had no intention of buying Jadon Sancho, we wouldn't go all in for Jadon Sancho again because when we were so close to signing Jadon Sancho and we didn't get him, the fallout was too big. With the pressure on the Glazers, with how much pressure the Glazers are under, with the Glazers' apologies, if we're this close to signing Jadon Sancho once again and we don't get him, that will just collapse the Glazers' world. More pressure on them, sponsorships go down even more, prices fall, it hurts their pocket. We are definitely in for Jadon Sancho. I don't think we'd go in and leak all these stories that he's our first choice signing if we're not going to sign Jadon Sancho this summer. But the thing about Man United is we're just playing the long game to save money, which is really, really frustrating. But he's £80 million. Is Martial staying, says PS? Honestly, no idea. No idea. I think if we sign Sancho, Martial's more likely to be able to leave, with Cavani staying another year. I think Martial will stay. He signed a new deal 2 years ago. He's had one off season. He's a very, very good player. He was our player of the season last year. I think Martial will stay. I think Dan James, if we sign Sancho, Dan James and Mata will go before Martial. Martial offers more than Dan James and Mata. Whether you like Martial or not, he's a better player than Dan James or Mata. Mata's time is up. Dan James hasn't proven to be good enough. We've got players like Amad Diallo that need to come through. Yeah, I don't know if I think Martial will stay, but I don't really know. I think Pogba's more likely to go than Martial, but one of the goalies is going to go. Pogba could go, Martial could go. They could be the big summer signings that leave Man United. Voice was absolutely going on. My voice is still very sensitive at the moment, guys, and all of that. We need a DM and a centre back more than a right winger. I agree. As I said, the only reason Man United's #1 priority target is Jadon Sancho is because the Glazers need a signing that's going to win back the fans. The Glazers know if we sign Jadon Sancho, shirt sales go up, wins fans back, stocks go up, their money goes back up. Glazers are losing money because they haven't got the fans. Jadon Sancho's that signing that wins back the fans. As sad as it is, as more we need a CDM and a centre back more than Jadon Sancho. The reason we're all in for Jadon Sancho this summer is because it will win back the fans. And like as I said, you know, United have everything agreed with Sancho. We clearly want him, and I think our main motivation for wanting him is to win back the fans. It's just, when will the Glazers hurry up and pay the price? When will the Glazers hurry up and pay the price? This comment's an interesting one. It says, the hype around English players is unreal. Media is dominating our opinion and making us look at English players. We've got to get rid of this media obsession and be realistic and productive in this market. There is a massive, massive bias to English players. And I just want to talk about something. Now, Phil Foden is a brilliant player, a quality player, one of the best youngsters in football. But Phil Foden is getting nominated for the Player of the Year. So Phil Foden deserves to be nominated for Young Player of the Year. But Phil Foden has been nominated for Player of the Year over Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah got the second most goals this season. Liverpool came third. He had a good season in a poor Liverpool side this year. Mohamed Salah isn't nominated. But if Mohamed Salah was English and Phil Foden was Egyptian, I tell you this now, Phil Foden would have been nominated and Mohamed Salah would have been nominated. There is a weird English agenda. And the thing is, Declan Rice is £90 million. Indeed, he would, even though Leicester likes to rip us off, it's probably going to be £60 million. Indeed, he's better than Declan Rice. Zakaria, Kessie, Locatelli could all be better than Declan Rice, Sandro Tonali, but they will be less because they're not English. Media overhype English players. There's definitely English players are overpriced. Declan Rice is a quality player, and I think Jadon Sancho is a quality player. I don't think Jadon Sancho is overpriced because he's playing abroad. I think 80 million is affordable for Jadon Sancho, but I do think Declan Rice, £90 million is massively overpriced. I think if Basuma's going to be half the price of Declan Rice, and I only think Declan Rice is that much better than Basuma. But I do agree there is this weird agenda towards non-English players. Guys, please hit that like button and subscribe down below if you're not already subscribed to Alice Talks Football. I'll be doing daily Manchester United content throughout the transfer window. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any football content, daily content, Man United content throughout the transfer window. If we sign a player, it'll be straight here. I'll make a video on it. If we're close to signing a player, I'll make a video on it. The rumour is we're close to signing Trippier. We obviously know there's a lot going on with Sancho and we're making an offer for Varane. But so you don't miss anything, if you're new, please do subscribe. Now, obviously, talking of England quickly, Henderson, Maguire, Luke Shaw and Rashford will play for England in the Euros, so keep an eye on them. Hopefully Rashford doesn't play much, not because I don't want Rashford to play, but Rashford's got an injury, so hopefully Rashford doesn't stress his injury too much. The Glazers' logic, Alice, is that sales, or I have no idea what you're saying there, but the Glazers, all the Glazers care about is getting as much money as they can because they're greedy bastards. Let's be English. English players will never win a Ballon d'Or. Kane's the best chance of winning a Ballon d'Or, but I don't think he will. Maybe a few years after Messi, Ronaldo, if Kane moves to City and has a good season. But yeah. This guy says, if we don't sign Varane, Sancho and a new CDM, we will be nothing next season. I think we will struggle. I think we have to sign a CDM and a centre-back next season because Chelsea have just won a Champions League and going to improve and have a full season under Tuchel. Liverpool have signed Kante, going to sign Rafinha, and they're going to have all their injuries back. Man City are already a level ahead of us. I think, if we don't sign any players, or at least two, if we don't sign at least players in two key areas, we will struggle next season and be in a race for fourth because I think City, Chelsea and Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool are more prepared than us for next season. I agree. Henderson's overhyped by the English media. I agree. English players are very overhyped and overrated by the media. I completely agree with that comment. This guy says the Glazers' logic. Oh, I've read that one out. And all of that. Remember, TeamViewer will be our new sponsor and they won't sign any till TeamViewer's shirt is up. Yeah, that's the other thing. We haven't released our shirt for next season. There's leaked shirts. United haven't released their shirt for next season. I don't think we will release our shirts for next season, until we sign a player. So we can use that player we sign to hype up our shirts for next season. I honestly feel like we're not going to sign anything for next season. I feel like we're gonna announce our shirt with our signing because if you announce your shirt and your new signing on the same week, you make more money, more PR out of it, more sponsors. And I think United will do anything to save money. Sign Zakaria, Locatelli. We do not have the money for Rice, 80 million. Look, I was talking about this earlier. I'm not sure why we aren't linked to players like Basuma, Zakaria, Rice, Locatelli, even Kessie. They'll be so much cheaper than Rice. And I love Declan Rice, but I know that if we sign Sanchez for 80 million, there's no way we're signing Rice for 90 million unless Paul Pogba goes. JB says Kane needs to leave Spurs, period. Juan Foyce and Etienne Capoue both won a trophy before him. Exactly. I feel sorry for Kane. He's such a good player. I think he needs to leave Spurs, but I think because of how expensive it will be hard for him to leave Spurs. If you think about it, Mbappe's wanted to leave PSG for the last year, wasn't able to leave, priced out a move. Pogba wanted to leave Man United last summer, priced out a move. Kane is another player that's going to want to leave this summer, but he's going to be priced out of move and he's going to have to wait a year. Paul Pogba had to wait a year, Jadon Sancho had to wait a year, and Mbappe's had to wait a year, maybe 2 years, because they're priced out of a move. And I think with Harry Kane, he's just going to be priced out of a move. But yeah, 100%. Do I watch United Stand? Yeah, I watch some of their videos. They make good content. I do watch a few United football channels because obviously I like football, so I watch a lot of football channels and a few United channels here and there. I'm trying to read out as many comments as I can before I end the stream. No, you were wrong. Declan Rice is overpriced because West Ham don't want to sell him. He's not put in a transfer request. Yeah, you make a good point. I think Declan Rice is overpriced because he's English. 90 minutes is overpriced. But I think because West Ham European football, they don't want to sell him, and Declan Rice isn't putting any pressure to leave, West Ham can demand more money. Yeah, you are completely right with that comment. You are completely right with that comment and all of that. If you have any questions, please put them in the live chat down below. I'm going to try and read out as many questions and live chat as possible. So if you have any questions for me, put them in the live chat. I'm going to read out as many as possible regarding transfers, news, and all of that. Thoughts on Hakan Çalhanoğlu on a free? There was a rumour that we were going to sign him on a free, and I think it was a decent signing for a bench player. But look, at the end of the day, Sancho, Kunde, and the top CDM is what I want. And then you can look at Trippier, Çalhanoğlu for that bench depth. But look, it's a decent signing, but it's not a priority signing, if you want my honest opinion. Someone says I need to talk slow. I know it's because I'm like rushing through my words because my mouth hurts, so I'm just talking really quick at the moment. I do talk quite quick, so I apologize. It's when I read as well that I just read really quick. But I'm gonna read out a few more comments. If you have any questions regarding Man United news, transfers, or you want me to answer any questions, put them in the live chat. I'm right at the bottom of my live chat now, so any comments that come up right now I'll probably read out. So if you have any questions, comments, put them in. But if Chelsea interested in Declan Rice, Rice will choose them. Yeah. Man United and Chelsea interested in Sancho, but Sancho will go to United because Sancho wants United. Man United and Chelsea both interested in Declan Rice, but realistically, Rice will go to Chelsea over United because Rice wants Chelsea. This comment says, love the channel, keep it up. Thank you very much. Do we let Pogba leave or for free or give him 400k a week? If Pogba is only staying for the money, you let him leave. But if Pogba actually does want to stay and it's not just about money, then you go. But whatever Pogba wants to do, let him do. Like if Pogba wants to leave, I say let him leave because if you're forcing him to stay, he's not going to be at his best. But I'd like Pogba to stay, but it is one of them. Only 12 likes needed for 200 likes, guys. So if everybody watching hits that like button, it would be much appreciated. We're going for a while, but there's a chance I won't be live tomorrow, depending if I go out or not. So that's why I'm keeping this live as a long one. But look, if there's any Man United transfer news updates tomorrow, there will be a video on it, even if I'm not live. So stay subscribed for content. I'm going to do 5 lives a week during the transfer window, 5 likes a week during the transfer window. So like, subscribe. So stay tuned for all of that and all of that. Let me read out some more. Check. Right, this comment says Rice without Souček is a little doubtful. Wonder if he has the capability to be the man we need to start winning again. We want more than him. He would like to come prioritize Varane, in my opinion. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Do you prioritize the centre back or CDM? We need both. I do think though Rice is the defensive one. Souček's the one that goes forward. I think Souček's a bit like McTominay, does his best work going forward, and I think Rice and McTominay could work well. And I criticise McTominay a lot because he doesn't play well because he's played out of position. But when McTominay goes forward or plays as a box-to-box, he plays quite well and he shows that he has Man United level in him. So it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one, that. But yeah. Will Van der Beek be the replacement if Pogba leaves? So there's rumours about Van der Beek wanting to leave. I think if Van der Beek, if he's not going to get minutes next season, has to go. And I love Donny Van der Beek. Now, I think we must have signed Donny Van der Beek as a Pogba replacement. If Pogba leaves this summer, I think Van der Beek will stay. I would be look, there's a chance both Donny and Pogba stay, but I think Van der Beek is that Pogba replacement, and I think then we go for a CDM. So does CDM Van der Beek Bruno as the midfield, or CDM McTominay Bruno as the midfield? But yeah, it's an interesting one. I have no idea if Pogba's going to sign a contract. I have no idea if Pogba's going to stay. Once there's an update from a relevant journalist or a reliable journalist about Pogba's future, I will do a video on it. The second I know if I think Pogba's going to leave or stay confidently, look, I think like there's not much indication of him staying, but he's not pushing for a move. He could run down his contract. The minute I know what's going on with Pogba, I will make a video on it because I can't call if he's going to stay or leave. I can say I have a feeling Sancho's going to come. I can't call it, but I can say I think Sancho will come. I can't say I think Pogba will stay. I can't say I think Pogba will leave because I don't know. But the second I have an idea, I will make a video on Pogba's future. Second, some money comes out. So second, some news comes out. God, I'm really slurring my words at the moment. I'm really slurring my words at the moment. And all of that. But thank you everyone for watching. Please hit that like button and subscribe down below if you have not already. Someone says, how do I feel about the Trippier signing as backup to Wan-Bissaka? Well, Tellers really improved Luke Shaw. I think if Trippier is £15 million or less, go for him, because I don't think that really affects who we're going to get. Look, I want right wing, CDM and centre back first, and then Trippier. I think backup right back is the fourth priority. So I don't think Trippier is a bad signing. He's good at going forward. He's very, very different to Wan-Bissaka. Like Tellers is very, very different to Luke Shaw. So I think he can improve Wan-Bissaka. He has competition with Wan-Bissaka. And I think it takes the strain off Wan-Bissaka, because I think Wan-Bissaka's had some good games this season and some poor games. And I think a lot of it has been because he's almost worn out. He's knackered. And I think if you have Kieran Trippier, you don't have to expect Wan-Bissaka to play week in, week out. Because I remember the minute Wan-Bissaka had a 2-week break, he came back, played amazing. And I think he had a few poor games because he was stressed. So I have no issue with Man United signing Kieran Trippier as long as it doesn't affect who else we sign, and as long as it isn't a key signing, if you get what I mean. If Pogba leaves for free, it's a big loss for Manchester United because of the money you pay for him. Exactly. Absolutely, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning into the live stream. I'm just going to sum up all the news before I end the live stream. But the latest on Manchester United is, so who's going to leave Man United? Well, Sergio Romero is going to leave. And I assume one of Dean Henderson or De Gea will leave. I think Mata will go. Matic leaving could be likely as well. We're not sure about Pogba or Martial, but I think towards the end of the transfer window, we'll know if Pogba or Martial will go. I think Dalot will go. I think Jones has to go. I think Pereira will go. Possibly Dan James will go, because I think we will sign Sancho. That's the latest on the outs as we know right now. As of the rumours, the ins look like Kieran Trippier could be the next possible signing. As you know, if we're looking at the ins, Jadon Sancho is a likely transfer, but it's unlikely to happen before the Euros. And Varane is a player that we are going to go in for. And if Varane wants us, hopefully we'll land Varane. But again, no strong indications of us going for a CDM. We'll also link to the likes of Jules Koundé, Haka and Kalinoglu, and a lot of players. But if at the way things going, we haven't signed anyone yet. Could Kieran Trippier be our first signing? Some journalists saying there's nothing in it. Some journalists saying it's close. We'll have to keep an eye on over the next few days, see what someone like Fabrizio Romano says. So I keep an eye on Fabrizio Romano's Twitter so we do know what's going on with Trippier, because some people are saying there's nothing in it, and then other people are saying it's really, really close. I think Jadon Sancho is going to happen after the Euros. I think Varane is something to keep an eye on. There is a news that we've offered him a 5-year deal, but you have to take it with a pinch of salt because of the source it's come from. But that's the latest we know on all the Manchester United news. I will be doing a stream Saturday night, so make sure you stay tuned for that by hitting that like button, subscribe down below, share this video, and all of that. Glaze is out. You know, hit that like button for Glaze is out. It means a lot. Thank you everybody for your live chats. It means a lot for tuning into the chat and all of that. Please hit that like button, subscribe down below. As I've said many times, if you're new to the channel and you've not seen my face before, I do daily Manchester United content and live streams 5 nights a week, trying to answer your chats and just update you on all the latest Manchester United news. If we sign a player, there's a live stream. If we're close to signing a player, there's a live stream. If there's any relevant Man United news, there's a live stream, and I reply to chats and all of that. So if that sounds like your thing, subscribe, like. Thanks everyone for tuning in. A big up everyone contributing in the live chat. It means a lot, and all of that. Like, subscribe, share. Thank you for watching.